Good afternoon, everyone. If you'll check your cell phones, that may be helpful. Make sure they're turned off. All right, this is the January 13th, 2026 Hardin County Fiscal Court regular voting meeting. Let's begin and call this meeting to order. A roll call, please.
Squire Clem.
Here.
Squire Hicks.
Here.
Squire Muse.
Here.
Squire Pennington.
Here.
Squire Saltzman.
Here.
Squire Thompson.
Here.
Squire Whitehead. Here. Squire Yates.
Here.
Judge Executive Keith Tall.
Here. Next we'll have invocation by Magistrate Thompson and Pledge of Allegiance, Magistrate Hicks.
I invite you to pray with me. Father God, we take this time just to turn our hearts to you. We pray, Father, that today your Holy Spirit would dwell among us and guide us. Lord, give us wisdom. Guide us to make best decisions as we meet today. Father, we lift up to you a torn nation, a torn community, a torn state. We pray, Father, that your peace would return. Father, we pray for your protection, for continued watch care over us. Father, we thank you for those that you place in governmental positions, leadership positions, Father. We pray you give them wisdom. We pray, Father, you guide them in every aspect of our lives here locally, that protect us, those that serve us. We pray your blessing on them. And then, Lord God, for our state and our nation, internationally, Lord, for those who stepped up to serve, may you bless them. Give them confidence and strength in you. Bless us as we continue to do the work that we're charged with here today. For it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thanks again for joining today. It's great to see all of you here. Appreciate those watching on TV and those that are streaming. So good afternoon to you also. We'll review the agenda as usual. We have the minutes that we'll approve next, and then we have some information from our jailer after that, and then some presentations and reports that will be provided. After that, we'll have a time for any citizens' concerns or comments. We will then go into a closed session, and whenever we return, we will vote on a couple of items after that closed session, and then we actually have 3 resolutions to vote on. Then we have the consent agenda that I'll explain, and then usually, as usual, have some comments at the end before we adjourn. So that's our agenda today. So I did want to say Happy New Year to everybody. Our first meeting in 2026. I think I've already written 2025 down when I signed something, and I had to correct it, so it may take a little bit longer for me at least. I did want to take some time here this day to look back a little bit on 2025 and look ahead to 2026. I think it's worth looking back on 2025. There were a lot of bumps in the road, but we did have a lot of really good accomplishments in 2025, and I feel like it would be good to review a few of those. Let's start with public safety, and that's definitely has been an area that we have focused on. The completion of this third-party emergency service study, that was completed, and it was communicated, and it was explained, and of course this it developed and explained the county fire service short and midterm improvement plans and we did that, and we reviewed that here in fiscal court and other places to all the stakeholders. So we completed that earlier last year. And tied to that, we've had some, I think, significant EMS types of improvements, especially around response times. The first one was a big effort with West Point. We were able to reduce that response time from probably 20, 25 minutes or more down to somewhere around 5, 6, 7 minutes. And able to do that really with some relationships with the judge executive in Bullitt County, EMS folks, with our EMS folks and emergency management, and just a whole bunch of people that communicated. We've developed some good partnership there and collaborated with this thing, where I was able to come up with a really good agreement with them. And I feel safe in saying that will save some lives in the northern part of our county in West Point. So I'm excited about that, and that was a big deal. And in addition to that, we, some of you tracked the kind of bumpy road to get to a 9th ambulance in White Mills. And at the end of the day, that was expected to cut response times about in half for the western Hardin County. And it looks like that is exactly what it's doing. So we were seeing response times out of Sonora and out of E-Town of average of 30 minutes, but 40, 35, 40 minutes, even 45 minutes in the far western parts of Hardin County. It's a big county. So that part of the county for 40 years has needed this type of service, our ambulance service, and now it's there and it's functioning, and people in that part of the county, I believe, are very, from everything I'm hearing, are very happy about having that service there. So that was a very big deal, and I'm appreciative to everybody that had something to do with that and pull that together. We did add 3 new ambulances to our fleet. This was not cheap. It was about $800,000 worth, and over $800,000. And we've also, along with that, we had about $1 million worth of new devices that we needed to purchase to replace some end-of-life equipment. So a big investment in equipment in the EMS department. In addition to that, and one of the reasons that we could have an ambulance in White Mills was that there was a merger of 2 fire departments to become West Hardin Fire and Rescue. I believe this was the first time that we'd had a merger of fire departments in Hardin County, and this was a lot. It didn't take a huge amount of time, but it was impressive, really, how quickly it went and how smoothly it went. There were some bumps and there were some difficulties and challenges for sure, but I'm very proud of the people in that part of the county and how they came together to make that happen. It was very, very much needed. There may be some, as we look forward to 2026 and beyond, we will probably see some other needs for some mergers of some of our volunteer fire departments. But that was a big one, and it allowed them, as they worked on quarters for an EMS, for a new ambulance in their area, and for the living quarters and all the things that they put together through that. It's just an amazing accomplishment by so many people that worked on it. One key budget impact that I'd like to speak of briefly here in EMS. I feel like it's something that is kind of in the background, haven't talked about it a whole lot, but there was really about a 2-year improvement initiative in our EMS department. Our EMS director, Mark Peterson, and his team, we all really worked together, Bonnie and others, to work through some much needed improvements and process improvements, quality improvements, all kinds of things that were worked on with run sheet verification and payment methods, all kinds of things. This included a new third-party billing company that went into effect. This was much improvement over the previous billing company. And you put all this together, and we increased the revenue per run by about 38%. 38%. And this resulted in over 22% total revenue increase of $1.3 million in a couple of years. So that's a big deal. At the same time, costs were reduced. We had several efforts and work on improvement of how the supplies that are being used by the ambulances and how those are being monitored. Sometimes not having enough, sometimes having too much, and some of the costs associated with that. In addition to that, we did eventually have a reduction of 2 staff employees, which isn't easy, and means that some of those functions are taken over by others. So all that said, it was a big effort, and I just want to appreciate our EMS department, our director, and all the team that worked really hard to make that happen, and everybody else that worked on that. It was a long 2-year road, but it was a good one. In addition to that, and part of it really is EMS earned a Mission Lifeline Silver Award from the American Heart Association. So I'm pretty proud, and I know they're proud of that. And as we look forward to 2026, let's go for the gold, right? So we'll just continue to work on those types of improvements to get us those types of awards and recognition. Emergency management, I don't want to overlook this at all, because this was a huge, massive effort in response to the April flooding disaster that we had. And that seems like, I don't know, for me it seems like 2 years ago, but it was in April, and it was a big deal. And so we had over, and of course, I probably don't need to say this, but our emergency management director, Joey Scott, of course, led the charge on this. He was relentless, and he didn't get a lot of rest. He was there, he was everywhere. And so I just want to appreciate him and all the work that he did. I'm going to mention here in a minute how much help he had, but there's over 50 water rescues when we look back on this. And we collaborated with over 27 different agencies, organizations, and churches. So that's just an indication of how our county responds to help each other, and it was impressive. And this, there was a lot of work with FEMA to secure individual and public assistance status for Hardin County. Thankfully, our president eventually signed those declarations, and there's a lot of work that goes on in the background, but the public assistance, the individual assistance, there was over $3 million that went out to our citizens. Public assistance, still working with FEMA, but it is estimated over $1 million, primarily to repair 2 badly damaged county roads. So there's just a massive amount of work that goes on in the background to make all this happen. It just doesn't fall in your lap. I'll say that. And so I'm very proud of our organization and everybody working to do all these things. A fiscal court, our magistrates, I know we're out there helping people. So it was just a group effort, and I'm very pleased with how it all worked out. Transparency and communication, another area. We launched a redesign of our county website. In the meantime, we won 2 major awards for public service and collaboration. We've gained 11,000 new social media followers. We're up over 23,000 residents. And of course, this helps us with timely updates and keeping people informed of what's going on in the county. One that's maybe not too exciting, but I feel like it's important, is we were able to restart the Board of Ethics with a modernized ordinance, thanks to our county attorney and all the work that she did and others to make that happen. And so I can say that our Board of Ethics is currently functioning according to the ordinance. Infrastructure and community development, the last category I have, is I want to mention the latest news on our animal care and control milestone. Hardin County Court handed down the harshest sentence ever for animal cruelty in Kentucky, resulting in a sentence of 6 years. This lady was convicted for 22 counts of dog torture resulting in death and 10 counts of torture resulting in serious physical injury. The case was processed through the legal system for 2.5 years. 2.5 years that our folks were working on this. And Hardin County, I can say, and has been said, is leading the way in efforts to protect animals with this monumental judicial decision. Many people were involved in this case, but a special thanks to Radcliffe Police Department, our animal shelter, of course, and also the Assistant Commonwealth's Attorney, Eric Carr. So that was a big deal. Just a couple of other items. Last year, our water districts, with the efforts of trying to get to 100% of our residents having access to clean water, they extended water lines, and now we're reaching numbers like 98 and 99% in our county. We've used some of our money to help do that, and so I'm proud of those numbers, and we've got a little ways to go to get 100%. And then one other thing is that we secured a $1 million block grant for Family Scholar House, and of course this was working alongside ECTC and Lincoln Trail Ad to make that happen. So there were just a few. Those are some of the key items in 2025, some to be proud of and something for all of our residents to be proud of as we have been able to move through those issues and problems and come up with some good solutions and move forward. As we looked at 2026, I just wanted to mention a couple of key areas that we're looking at. Again, public safety is the first one, and we will continue to respond to emergency service study on the fire and EMS recommendations that we got now about a year ago almost. And so we're still utilizing that study to help us move forward. We plan to add full-time ambulances at strategic volunteer fire department stations. It is still part of that, and this will improve coverage and response times, and it will also lower some costs. So there's at least two volunteer fire departments that we are looking at to move into with ambulances. And that would be moving current ambulances. I'm not saying that we don't need a 10th ambulance, but they're pretty expensive. So we'll have to figure that out down the road, but that would move current ambulances. We will be looking at 2 new ambulances being delivered. This is about a $500,000 addition. So these ambulances, again, are not very, they are very expensive, and we may purchase even more ambulances as we continue to work toward our fleet being updated, and we have good equipment out there to respond to folks as they call in. We will look at replacing cardiac monitors. There's about 15 of them that we need to replace. That is not cheap. That's another $1 million. Implement a standard tracking software in the area of fire, implement a standard tracking software across all county fire departments. This software is already used by the cities, their fire departments, so we're looking at standardizing that and helping the fire departments to do that. And one last thing is we are looking at hiring a county fire service coordinator. Initially, this coordinator would help standardize reporting and equipment purchases and try to save some money with our volunteer fire department. So there's a lot of things that this person could do to help with some of the paperwork, some of the administration initially, and then also guide and help guide a long-term planning and coordination between all 11 of our volunteer fire departments. As far as infrastructure and planning, complete a full objective analysis of county roads. We're well along on that road in 2025. We need to pull that information together in 2026 and make any objective results from that, and road improvement plans available for anybody to see on the website is the vision for that. Budget focus on reduction of fiscal court general fund subsidies to the detention center. We definitely have a very high amount of money that's going to the detention center. We are hoping that we can, through some clear, strong communication with state legislators, to support a bill that will significantly reduce the huge county jail subsidies. And it's not just in Hardin County, it's across the state, in just every county that has a jail, and even those that don't are having to pay higher amounts of money to send their folks to another county. I was able to testify in Frankfurt with other county officials to try to educate a bunch of legislators on these very negative impacts of very high jail budget county subsidies. So I'm hopeful that in all 6 of our legislators, we had them here and tried to have them here. Not all of them made the meeting, but followed up with them later on this very important objective. And so they are working on it. They're all positive about making some changes there. So I'm hopeful that we'll make some strides there and will positively impact our budget if the state can just do more of their part. Economic development, the big thing here is Blue Oval SK and Ford developments. I know that there is a lot of things going on in the background with the state, a couple of cabinets, and with our industrial foundation, with Chamber of Commerce, ECTC, Lincoln Trail Ad. I'm involved, Mayor Gregory's involved, to try to pull together plans and do what can be done to try to find jobs, basically for approximately 1,600 people, of which my understanding about half of those live in Hardin County, so about 800 people. And so this is a big deal, especially for them, as their lives have been turned upside down. So the hope here is with all these efforts, there's a meeting every day, and I get an update every day on things that are occurring. There's some training happening at the ECTC location there in Glendale, and I know that at least 600 of the employees that are going through or passing through that class to learn more about what their rights and their different options are. And then there will be a huge, I think, job fair. I think it's next week. I'd have to look at the exact day. But they're all being communicated with that will be available to them. There will be a whole lot of companies that will be there to provide opportunities for them to come and work for them. So I don't know if there will be enough for 800 people, but for Hardin County, but I'm hopeful that that will be a very good start anyway. And then we will also support Ford as they invest $2 billion in a new battery technology, resulting in at least, they said, 2,100 jobs. 2,100 jobs in the next 2 years. So we have that lag time of 18 months to 24 months, we're told, that they're able to come in. And in the meantime, there will be a whole bunch of contractors that will be coming back into our county. So this will continue until we get that changeover. So that's something to look forward to and to working with them to hopefully that will happen very smoothly. So to wrap this up, anything else basically to say is that Hardin County is focused on delivering value, delivering safety, and transparency. And we have tools like text to 911 and rave alerts that are available, so continue to sign up for those to stay informed. And we're always listening. The community feedback helps shape our priorities. So we have things like town halls and ability just to text into county government. And if there's one that needs to come to me, then I get that, and I respond to all of those. So I just want to thank you for the continued support, and pretty excited about 2026. It's going to be exciting, it's going to be challenging, and we're going to make some headway. I guarantee you that. All right, thank you. All right, so we'll move on then to the next agenda item. This is to approve Hardin County Fiscal Court December 18, 2025 minutes. I need a motion to approve.
So moved. Whitehead.
Okay. Did you get second? Any Muse? Okay. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Squire Clem.
Yes.
Squire Hicks.
Yes.
Squire Muse.
Yes.
Squire Pennington.
Yes.
Squire Saltzman.
Yes.
Squire Thompson.
Yes.
Squire Whitehead.
Yes.
Squire Yates.
Yes.
Judge Executive Keith Tall.
Yes, motion passes. All right, next on the agenda are informational items, and I believe that our Hardin County Detention Center medical billing update by Josh Lindblom. I think he's got good news for us.
Hello, Squires.
Hello.
So, about 5 years now, we've been looking at some different things about medical billing at the jail, and we've had some issues, and myself and Magistrate Clem have been going back and forth on this issue for about 5 years now, talking to different people, and they're finally come to fruition, so I want to make sure, so we want to make sure we go ahead and talk about this. So, in the sale of the hospital, there was a codicil in there, and one of the deals was that $150,000 was to go towards the jail bills every year. That was one of the first things that happened. So every year when September rolls around, they start deducting off the top what our bills are to them. Now mind you, that's not the ER, that's everything else at the hospital. So my biggest issue with it was always that when a regular inmate would go from the jail to the hospital, there would be a Medicaid rate after 24 hours once somebody gets admitted. Well, with these bills at the $150,000 mark, they weren't getting repriced. They weren't being sent down to the jail to be repriced. They were just like, okay, well, that's what we take off because your $150,000 you don't actually pay. Well, I always had a problem with it. I know Fred has always had a problem with it because we talked to this, very extensively. Well, we talked to him a good bit, and the good thing about it is now they told us that we are correct. So the chief financial officer has been working on auditing through the hospital, and our billing people at 3Cs, our medical company for the jail, and the county attorney's office have been involved. And the good thing about it is, going forward now, that every bill we have for the hospital towards that $150,000 will be repriced. So what that means is, over the next 15 years that we have it left, there'll be about $750,000 in savings at least over the next 15 years, about $50,000 a year going forward. So now that'll help us out in different ways because there'll be certain times where we won't have to pay our cost pool allotment for another 2 or 3 months, which sometimes the cost pool runs $32,000 a month, sometimes it runs 10, but this will help us out in the long run, at $50,000 a year. So $750,000 in the next 15 years is a pretty good deal. But the best thing about it is they audited this past year. So, and they're going to go back and audit the last 4 years after that, before that. So the hospital sold in 20, so every year they're going to go ahead and audit all of it. And so the reason I asked to do this, today is because we were pretty excited because we got a check here from BHH for the first year, and it's $50,383.53. So that is money that would have been left on the table that we wouldn't known about. So, Fred, I appreciate your help. Jenny, appreciate that. Like I said, our billing at 3Cs, the people we paid through all of our medical, they were really diligent on this. And I don't know, it's just good to be up here to say that we got a small victory from from that. So $50,383.53 can get into the treasurer, and we should have 4 more coming over the next couple months. And once they finish the audits for the rest of the years. Now, mind you, in 20 we had about 800 prisoners in the jail, so it might be a little bit more of a check. So we'll see, but hopefully, knock on wood, at least a couple $100,000 more. So. I just want to put that out there, and I just want to make sure they deposit this check and stuff before they pull it back. So, so any questions on anything, guys? Anything?
That's fantastic.
No?
Yeah,
Well, I
it's great
appreciate
news.
y'all.
Put it in the
Thank
bank fast.
I appreciate your diligence.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate that. That is good news. All right. We'll move on then to some department office reports. We'll start out with planning. Adam King. Good afternoon.
It's kind of hard to follow up with Big Josh bringing you guys a check, but I'll do my best. All right, I've got November and December from the Planning Commission. This will also serve as our 2025 year-end report. This is on. All right, give me my next slide, please. All right, first up, a couple items that went before the Planning Commission. This was a zone change request from John Beamer, doing business as All About Dirt and Remodeling. This is out on Botto Avenue, east of I-65, just there off Bardstown Road. So this was a zone change request from R1 to C2 to allow for him to put his office in that shop building there at the top of your screen. Next slide, please. This was a preliminary subdivision plat that went to the Planning Commission. This was Crisp Meadows. The owner, Crisp Holdings, will be developing 5 single-family residential lots there on Crisp Road. This is just out St. John Road, just past the railroad tracks. Looking at the various land use applications for 2025, Hardin County Board of Adjustment was pretty busy. 23 conditional use permits, 28 variance applications. Things slowed down some on the Planning Commission side. The Planning Commission heard 10 zone change requests, and then staff was pretty busy with 21 development plan projects for non-residential applications. Next, looking at the number of plats recorded and the number of lots recorded. So for 2025, a total of 94 subdivision plats were recorded at the clerk's office. That is down from 125 in 2024. Looking at the number of lots, though, the number of lots was up. We recorded 189 new subdivision lots for 2025. That's up from 164 in 2024. The subdivision plat that created the most lots this last year was Hidden Ridge subdivision. That was 30 new subdivision lots with 1 new street up off of 313, just south of the city limits of Radcliffe. Looking at permits, total building permits for the year was 480. That's down from 586 in 2024. Similarly, for electrical permits, we were at 897. That's down from 994 in 2024. Again, sort of our bread and butter is single-family residential, so 91 new homes for the year. The map of where those homes are located is on the right. 91 is down pretty substantially from 2024 when we were at 137. Again, 2023, 113. 2022, 112. So not way off the 5-year average, but there was kind of a reduction. Again, I think just the economy, the interest rate, several things play into that. On the next slide, just some numbers from 2025. So the average square footage under roof, so this would include covered porches, also attached garages. That average square foot was 3,387. And again, when we look at the 91 homes for the year, and the average construction cost reported to our office was $335,431. So definitely expensive. Looking at the number of inspections performed by our 2 building inspectors and 1 electrical inspector, they did over 3,107 inspections for the year. Just to update you all on some new and expanding businesses we had in November and December. So again, new convenience store and gas station is being developed out at the corner of 86 and 920. That'll be called Vertrees Market. So there's a rendering there of it. Also the Mercantile out in Rineyville. This is the former Rineyville Feed and Seed on Rineyville Road. So it's being remodeled, sort of repurposed there into just kind of almost like a general store. And then bottom left there, Ma's Korean Food. They've expanding from their food truck and opening a restaurant in a previous house there on Bardstown Road, just east of I-65. Lastly, we held our open house for the Glendale Small Area Plan back on Thanksgiving week. We had about 40 people attend the hearing or the open house. Overwhelmingly positive comments. So Planning Commission has a public hearing scheduled on that small area plan for March 3rd to adopt that plan as part of the county's comprehensive plan. Again, it's just giving some more guidance and kind of more teeth to shape that development that will eventually come to Glendale. That's all I've got. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys might have.
All right, thank you. Good
Thank you
report, thanks.
Thank you.
Not as good as a check, but it was a good report. All right, next up, Public Works, Stephanie Gibbons.
Good afternoon, magistrates and judge.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
So I have the Solid Waste Code Enforcement Activity Report, which will also give you some information about our year end as well. So the first slide here on the Code Enforcement Department, this shows you how many cases were open and closed and how many outstanding for the year. For the month of December, we had 7 new cases. 3 cases were closed, and that still left us with 46 outstanding cases. You can tell in the summer months there, around springtime, April, May, June, July, that's when we get our heaviest call volume in, and we also are able to get a lot of those taken care of very quickly, depending on what it pertains to. On our deceased animal removal program for the month of December, it shows you the breakdown there from the cows, calves, horses, goats, sheep, pigs, and other. That gave us a total of 268 for the whole year of 2025, which is roughly about 55 more than 2024. So this program is still very successful. We still have a lot of people, a lot of farmers that are utilizing this for their animals they have. The free document shred days. For 2025, we ended up taking in 937 bags of shred. 866 cars come through to bring their bags in. This has been a huge free event that we supply for the general public to come out and bring those documents to us. We started that program towards the end of 2023, but this just gives you an idea on how positive this program is and how much the public truly enjoy it. In 2024, we only had 520 vehicles and 572 bags. So we were roughly over 300 to 350 more in vehicles and bags. And reminding you that our team only is down there for 1 hour open to the public per month. So once the hour is up, they're there for several more hours to continue to shred to keep up, but we're only allowing the customers to come in for 1 hour to drop their items off. Our next shred event is going to be February 2nd, again from 1 to 2 p.m. there at the Hardin County Road Department. The address there is listed. Just come in and pick up your free bag to put your items in to bring to us. The recycling drop-off trailers and drop-off points for our month of December, it shows you the breakdown there for all the different items that we collect in those trailers, and it gives you an idea on what we have done for the year. Roughly 302 tons of materials was brought in through those recycling trailers, 7 different recycling drop-off sites that we prevented it from going to the landfill. So to me, that's definitely a win-win. This is our locations for our trailers, just in case people are not aware of where they're at, whichever one may be closest to you, whether you're at home or you're at work. This is also available on our website. You can stick in your address on where you're located at, and it will automatically tell you which one is closest to the address you have. And this is just a reminder about our free bulky item pickup service. I know it's the end of the year, beginning of next year. A lot of people are doing some cleanups and cleanouts after the holidays. So just as a courtesy to remind you that there are lots of items that our waste hauler will pick up. It just must be called in and scheduled as an extra service, but it is free to you. This is a chart here that kind of gives you an idea on the average completion times that platform was doing. For the year, it shows the graph there of staying roughly around 3:30 to 4:30, 4:45. In the last month or so, it has been inching up a little bit more. Of course, we are getting darker a lot earlier as well, so that's not good for them. But so they're roughly averaging around 6 p.m. at the moment currently. On the tonnage collected, they're on an average about 76 tons each month. For a grand total in 2025, we took in 19,435 tons of trash that went in from the curbside pickup only. That's, again, averaging about 75 tons a month. On the time at the landfill, I know the print is real little, but it kind of gives you an idea on how much time they're spending at the landfill from the time they cross over into the scale at the scale house. How long does it take them to get up to the top and get emptied and unloaded and then back out of the scale? So they're roughly running anywhere from about 21 to 28 minutes or so of downtime of not being able to pick up curbside trash. This is an updated slide for all of our upcoming Saturdays for 2026. Just wanted to give you all a heads up on the next one coming up will be February 7th. Our first free dump day for the year is scheduled for May 30th. I'm trying to give people enough time to be able to plan for that day. It will be from 7 to 2 p.m. out there at the Pearl Hollow landfill. And then, of course, we have scheduled our electronic e-scrap day. It also will be at AGC like it is every year pretty much, and it's going to be April 25th from 8 to 2. So those are the 2 free events that we've got scheduled so far besides the shredding. And just as a reminder to text Hardin County to the 91896 number, that is how we do a lot of communication with the general public on holiday closures, issues with maybe the recycling trailer not being there or not being open, you know, things of that nature. If there's a holiday and we're scheduled for a different day for your pickup, that's how we communicate that information to the general public. And then last but not least, to register to do the Text My Gov, that is the phone number there, the 270-951-0951. That is the number that we utilize to be able to report in that their trash was missed, There's litter on the roadways. There's a dump site that somebody has found on a dead-end road somewhere. That comes in directly to my office, and as soon as I get that in, then I can start processing it to get those things taken care of. So we appreciate everybody that utilizes that number. Any questions for me?
Stephanie, the recycling trailers, and I've noticed that Brian's doing a really good job of kind of letting folks know that what not to put out at those locations.
Yes.
Is that widespread, or is that in a certain area that you're seeing that problem?
So, no, it's pretty much throughout all of our location sites. And a lot of the things that Brian has been putting out on our social media pages, those are not new rules or regulations. You know, for the one thing that I know we put out very, very recently was about the plastic bags. Mm-hmm. You know, all of our items get processed through Meade County. And when they come across those plastic bags, they're putting it in the trash. Luckily, they have not sent us any information saying they're going to start charging us for that trash they're removing from those trailers. But we try to keep those trailers as pure as possible for what it actually collects. So those are not new rules. It's been like that since the program has been in effect.
But you've just seen this problem, recently, or is it ongoing?
It's ongoing. Mm-hmm. It's been going on for some time. Mm-hmm. And again, I think a lot of some of those issues is just not being educated. People just don't know. I don't think that people are deliberately taking things there that we don't take. I think that they just don't know that those are the items that we don't take.
Yeah, it sounds like, because I know Brian, and thank you, Brian, he's doing a great job, but it sounds like maybe need to even further that education to mm-hmm. maybe the News Enterprise or something like that, a story on it, or, you know, that type of thing might help eliminate some of that, yes. Some of that problem.
Yes.
Yeah. But thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments?
All right. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Appreciate the report. It was a good report. Next up is engineering, Mark Absher.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
The first page here. Print looks a little smaller here than it does on the printout page, but the first one's FEMA, and we've been working on a lot of stuff for FEMA, trying to get all that grant money together, and all the departments have contributed a significant amount to this process, along with our road, including all their hours that they had put in for FEMA. And then I'll talk to something else later on here in the report about what's coming out of this and what's paid for by FEMA. From what I understand, they've approved all this already. Second part is pavement analysis. We're going through the PCR that Lincoln Trail did for us, and we're putting all that into our iWork system so people out on the road can actually look up where they're at and see what that rating is. Our road department can do that through iWorks. And we're also going to try to establish a system in there where it automatically uses the science behind all this stuff to actually establish what roadways should be maintained. You've got higher categories that are brand new, they're fine. But you've got some that are probably 20 years old or 40 or 50 or however long. A lot of this is ADT related, routing and stuff like that. But we're trying to put all that in the system to save staff time. Road safety. We've been begging and begging and begging for this information from the state. They haven't given us back our original data that we did, but they did provide a really nice safety manual, safety report, and I'm going to cover that, a little bit of that, the highlights of that here in a little bit. We should find out by the end of the month if we can get our 2 bridges covered by the state. That would be phenomenal. If we can get them, they cover it all, they'll design, they'll do everything for us, and then we're not out any money at all for those 2 bridges. So we're just waiting for feedback from the state on that. And then Meeting Creek, like I said here, they're in the railroad department, railroad company's hands. It's going to be a little expensive, but the state said that they will forward that to the state, to a higher level state, if it goes too much over budget, which they fully expect it will. So they will do all that for us to see if they can get additional money for us. So we don't have to do any of that. KYTC, you see Glendale. I have high hopes for Ford and what they propose out there. To me, it looks a lot more solid ground. Looks like we've got something, a demand market, so I'm really positive about it. It's going to be a bad point for all of us for a while, but it will get better, I believe. And the next part, the meat and potatoes, this thing. The safety review is a 384-page document, and it's all public information. Lincoln Trail, UK produced this. Lincoln Trail did a lot of work on providing whatever they needed. We're part of that team. We'd go out and look at roadways. And that picture is public domain. I just want to make sure no one thought that I used anything from local on that picture in the background. It's faded stuff. But again, I just want, in case somebody comes back and says, hey, what about this? It's not ours. But that other top left map is actually a layout of all the counties that they involved in this study and the report that they provided to us. And then down below that is public opinion. You'll see all the different categories. Now that includes all of the counties in that area. It's not just us. It's not just Hardin County. And you'll see the highest item, of course, is distracted drivers. That's not just texting. That's reading a book, looking out behind their windows or something, relying on these self-driving cars to do all their work for them. So there's a lot of distracted driving. And at a national level, it's gotten so bad, we're actually looking at increasing reaction delay for green lights. Like when your light turns green, we're looking at actually extending the amount of time that we allow for people to react to that green condition before they proceed. We'll have a capacity problem later as more and more people text. They don't pay attention. They're in the front of the line. They just don't see it. That actually has an impact on our traffic lights and things like that throughout the entire country. And then next page is, here's about us, specifically for Hardin County. Now this is all public domain. We talked about, crashes, stuff like that, but this is all out there. For our road crash history, it's not getting any better. 2024 was, you can kind of see the worst of them. 2020, 2021, I think we all know why that was low for what it was. We saw that at a national level too. Collision types, I can just tell you what each of those types are, but basically side swipe, opposite direction, side swipe, same direction, and you can kind of see what's going on. You don't have a lot of traffic lights, so your rear to rear is about where you expect, pretty low. If you have a lot of traffic lights, you're going to see a pretty significant increase in that. Because again, people, they don't realize the light just turned red, they slam their brakes, and the person behind them doesn't even expect that, and so they go right into them. So again, every time you hear this thing about, we need a traffic light there to remove all the crashes, it does not. It just changes the format of the crashes. Same thing with roundabouts. Instead of getting side T-bones, which are terrible, you get side collisions, things like that, which are a lot less potentially damage to the people and property and stuff. So this other part up here on the top right, that's the overall recommendations. That's not just a toolbox. These are just the ones that they recommend for our area, for all the counties. The ones I underlined in blue were specifically for Hardin County, the problem areas that they've seen. And down here, this is an example of sign need. It covers a lot of different stuff. It's not just whether it's faded or not, whether it's this or that. It's just when they come up on something, they're like, you really need to warn people about an intersection, stuff like that. So, and then coming up next, we've got the landslide. When road department asked me to come out and look at this at first, I'd never seen anything like it. So I reached out to the state. They came up with the same conclusion. No one had ever seen anything like that. We reached out to Eastern Kentucky. They hadn't seen this type of landslide. Everybody sees landslides, but this was really unusual. What happened is the subgrade got washed out with this wash. And so what you get is a collapse of all that, leading to the landslide failure. And I want to give credit to people that were involved with this. John Wiseman is actually the guy that turned me on to GSI. So I reached out to GSI, see what their proposal was, to see if it was really a legitimate repair for this facility. They've been doing this all over the country, and this is what they came up with for us for a solution. I really liked it, and then we ran it by the road department. We got everybody involved with it, and everybody liked this approach. For Hall Road, it was more of a typical landslide, and so we were looking at probably trying to go the the cheap route on that, just to make sure it took care of it. But both methods would have taken care of Hall, either one. So because we couldn't get a response, because they weren't on the master's list, we ended up going with GSI on both roadways, Stovall and on Hall Road. Now Hall, again, it's a very typical landslide. You expect this whole mountain to slide off into the ground, and that's pretty much what happened out there. And again, I want to brag on the road department too. On when they come out there, they needed trees cut out of their way. They specifically marked which trees, and the road department came out and cut those trees for them. And I'm going to show you the next slide, which is the really cool part. This is what they drilled in the ground. I wanted to show you the process. These are big bolts, big metal bolts that they push into the ground, and they back pump that with grout to solidify those in place. Then they go back with a wireframe mesh over that. That product on the right is your final product. It's got like a concrete layover, and those little pipes at the bottom are weep hose for water to run out from the roadway or wherever. And that was it. And then this is probably the most important part of this. As a traffic engineer, I see this all the time. It's a terrible thing. My kids are driving, it worries me too. But that's how many people die in America alone. And that's not an unusual height. That's just a lot of numbers. I think the lowest I've ever seen is 34,000 people each year die on these highways. People are driving, doing whatever they think, and they just don't consider that every time you get in a car, you have a probability of not making it home every single time. So that was my message for the day. I went through a lot, sorry. You got any questions? Here. Just want to make sure you all knew what was out there and what was going on. So.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate the report.
Thank you.
The battery.
All right. Next up is Road Department, Dwight Morgan.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I have your December report for December, November for the road department. Approachment permits were down about half. I think we all should know why. Building is not real strong right now with the interest rates, so reflecting of that. So road signs, we're replacing lots of road signs. We've got a lot of faded signs. Todd's been very diligent on getting those replaced. Daily activities, we continue to utilize our inmates. Thank you, Josh, for allowing us to use those inmates. I think it's the amount of telephone calls that we have not gotten reflects solely on those inmates and having those inmates. So if I'm not getting calls, it means you all are not getting calls. So I think it's a win-win for all of us. Bow trimming is something we continue to do daily as long as our equipment is up and running. Right now it's in the shop. It's been there for several days. So we tend to get behind if we don't, we're not out there working on that. So and it can overwhelm you, especially in the springtime when you got the new greenery. Things blooming, it's growing, so it's very important that we stay out on top of that. And we've done a good job. We've got a good crew out there. We've got a good foreman over that crew, and they continue to do miles and miles of roads every month for the county. So we're also doing some overhead tree trimming. So what that allows, it also allows sunlight in. So these areas that we've got, especially over in the western portion of the county, very hilly. It can be somewhat difficult to drive during the wintertime. So if we can get those areas opened up, get the roads opened up, it allows those roads to thaw out, and we can clear those a lot quicker. So we've got a good crew that's doing that, and they've gotten quite a bit done over the course of the year. So the other crew, we've got them out doing some shouldering. Gaither Station Road was one that was completed last week, both sides of the road. So hopefully we made some safety improvements, so you don't have as much height to get back on the road if you get off, and where it makes it difficult to get back on the road without possibly wrecking or whatever. So continue to do that. We're this week we started actually on Decker School Road. So those are two roads that are very high traffic. I would say they're probably around 1,500 cars a day. So we've got to have our flaggers out there at all times. So, but those guys are they're doing a good job, and we've done quite a bit of shouldering this time. So, and we're going to continue to do that. So, other than that, we've got our Flex Fund roads were Tunnel Hill and Blue Ball Church Road. Typically, since I've been here, it's really hard to get those flex roads completed before the end of our fiscal year. So even though we might get them done in the month of May, we may not see reimbursement on those from the state until the next fiscal year. So we've got them done, so we'll get our reimbursement way before in the fiscal year. So it's a big win for us, I feel like. So other than that, any questions? If not, thank you. You all have a good day.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Dwight.
Good report. Thank you. Okay, it takes care of the presentations today. There are some written reports that you can see on the website. Next item is citizens' concerns, comments. Anyone interested in coming up at this point in time? And yes, please. Just let us know who you are.
Hello, everyone. I've been here a few times. My name is Justin Poland. I'm the representative for this area for Congressman Andy Barr's campaign for U.S. Senate. And I wanted to make sure that the community is aware that I'm available for them and, of course, yourselves. Any issues, concerns that you may have that you feel like are relevant to the county, please just let me know. We're happy to work with you any way we can and make sure that we're a resource for you and all the community members, for the folks that may be, is this still streamed? Please reach out to me, 270-590-0200 or justin@barforsenate.com. I'm happy to work with any citizen concerns, anything at all. But we care about Hardin County. We care about E-Town. We care about Radcliffe and the surrounding areas. And we want to make sure the community and you all know that. So if you need anything at all, just let me know. And I appreciate the time that y'all gave me to speak. And
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to our next agenda item. We have closed session, and so I move to go to closed session pursuant to KRS 61.8101G. Discussions concerning a specific proposal. If open, discussions would jeopardize the citing retention, expansion, or upgrading of the business. Is there a second?
So moved. Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Squire Clem,
Yes.
Squire Hicks,
Yes.
Squire Muse,
Yes.
Squire Pennington,
Yes.
Squire Saltzman,
Yes.
Squire Thompson,
Yes.
Squire Whitehead,
Yes.
Squire Yates,
Yes.
Judge Executive Keith Tall.
Yes, motion passes. Next to move into our resolutions that we have in front of us today. The first two resolutions have to do with the assignment of the first one's assignment of the solid waste franchise agreement to Unified Disposal Partners Holdings LLC. This is resolution 008. And this has to do with our current company is Platform, and this is the company that bought out or took over Red River whenever they went bankrupt. So Platform is our current hauler and takes care of our curbside service in the county, an incorporated part of the county. So this company, Unified Disposal Partners, was interested in purchasing or taking over at least the Kentucky and Tennessee part of Platform. And so that's what we are voting on today, to approve that agreement and proceed with it. So at this time, I need a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
It's moved. Any second?
Second.
Second?
Muse and Hicks.
Hughes and
Yes.
Larry, I think. Okay. Now we have some time of discussion. You may have any comments about this change, any additional information that you want to share. Okay. Hearing none, we will go ahead and proceed with the roll call.
Squire Clem.
Yes.
Squire Hicks.
Yes.
Squire Muse.
Yes.
Squire Pennington.
Yes.
Squire Saltzman.
Yes.
Squire Thompson.
Yes.
Squire Whitehead.
Yes.
Squire Yates.
Yes.
Judge Tall.
Yes. Motion passes. All right, the next resolution, 009. This is basically the same thing, except we are talking about the assignment of the Intergovernmental Support Agreement, the IGSA agreement with Fort Knox. And we have, in that agreement, we use Platform, and so Unified Disposal Partners will be taking over those responsibilities also. So this is the agreement that we are voting on to allow that to happen. So I need a motion.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll have roll call, please.
Squire Clem.
Yes.
Squire Hicks.
Yes.
Squire Muse.
Yes.
Squire Pennington.
Yes.
Squire Saltzman.
Yes.
Squire Thompson.
Yes.
Squire Whitehead.
Yes.
Squire Yates.
Yes.
Judge Tall.
Yes, motion passes. All right, and now we'll go to item C, which is resolution 007. This is related to approval of engineering personnel. And so this is the hiring of a GIS person. And so if you remember, those of you that were tracking with us our last meeting, we had a actually the same resolution, except for a different start date. And so that's the only difference with this resolution from the previous one. And I'll ask our county attorney if you could maybe explain a little bit about what's going on here.
In Kentucky, if there is a tie vote on appointment of personnel, if that continues for 15 days or more, then the judge executive can make the appointment without the vote of fiscal court. So today is to see if that tie vote continues.
All right, thank you. All right, so is there a motion to approve resolution 2026-007 for the hiring of a GIS coordinator as stated in the original resolution 2025-246 that failed on deadlock? Is there a motion?
So moved.
It's moved. Seconded? Did you get the second?
Mute.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm going to start the discussion. I'm sorry, was there a question?
She said it was
She had
Hicks.
news for the second, but I think it was Hicks, wasn't it?
No, I second it.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
Larry.
Thank
Larry
you.
Hicks. All right, thanks. So, a little bit, a few comments, some background. Some of you may not have been here or seen, or, were able to watch the last fiscal court meeting in December. So a reminder that Mark Absher, he's our senior county engineer. We have had many discussions about this position, and I'm convinced with his guidance, he's the person that deals with this every day, that we need a full-time GIS coordinator to complete all the requirements of a very large, growing county. And this was made very clear at several committee meetings when asked if I intended to fill the position. No magistrate that I know of attempted to dig in very far, at least, with this position with Mark to understand why he wanted a full-time and needs a full-time position. And just to note that Mark is a highly qualified engineer who has many years' experience in the public sector. So I would hope that we would listen to him and hear his side of things and understand why he wants to do this. It's not just me saying this. In my 3 years as county judge executive with weekly contact in engineering department, the GIS coordinator position, I believe, is key to the daily operations and supports many of the things that this position does, supports public safety, and has been budgeted as a full-time position for more than 8 years. The Lincoln Trail ad contract was really meant as a stopgap and is for a maximum of $80,000 annually as it's currently written. That's about 940 hours or 18 hours per week. And this was meant to fill in until we were able to fill the position. A full-time GIS position is budgeted for around $103,000, which includes full benefits. This is it's pushing 2,100 hours of work. The $103,000 annual employee budget would equate to about 1,210 hours, or 58% of a full-time position, if we exclusively used Lincoln Trail ad. Public services will be cut if we exclusively use a contractor to fill the position without increasing the budget expenses. The GIS position was budgeted, posted, advertised according to our guidelines. A highly qualified person was offered the position, background check, drug testing completed, and was scheduled to start on January 5th, 2026, and now is scheduled to start tomorrow if we're able to pass this resolution. Since the position was vacated in May 2025, there was no one available to generate maps for engineers, for the sheriff's office, or planning and zoning. This is a decrease in service, and it is not fiscally responsible to use Lincoln Trail ad contract labor to produce maps to help builders and developers. We started using Lincoln Trail ad contract GIS services in November, once the agreement was signed, for critical mass projects, which are related to MS4 areas. That was about 32 hours of work, and the occupational tax map revision, that was about 11 hours. We will be using Lincoln Trail ad an additional 80 hours to work on more of the backlog and train the new GIS coordinator, if we hire one, about how to move through our protocols. Note that all annexations require an update to the maps along with the floodplain changes, planning and zoning changes, and occupational tax map changes. The GIS coordinator, who works with E911 to provide support and adherence to GIS protocols within the county-owned software, and we recently used the GIS contractor from Link Control Ad to support our E911 GIS coordinator with the online application connection to the CAD system. And the two employee GIS coordinator positions work together in updating the individual layers in the GIS system, with the initial basis of the system being E911. I believe it is not appropriate to contract out essential government services and lose direct control over our county-owned mapping protocols and software. It's not smart to do that. Contract engineering services should be project-related only, not a replacement for full-time daily and/or routine services. We found out even today that Link Control Ad contractor we were assigned, who was our former GIS coordinator, is trying to train another Link Control Ad GIS coordinator. At the same time, he is performing work for us. Last comments. We do not know of any time in the last 20 years that fiscal court has ever denied hiring an employee in an approved budgeted position. I'll say this, that this negatively affected the morale of employees whenever this happened last month. With the finance or HR department visibly shaken by this event to the extent they requested they not break the news to the candidate for the GIS position. So I contacted the candidate myself the day after the last court, tried to explain it best I could, and will, of course, contact this same person again today after we finish this fiscal court meeting. Hopefully with good news, but if not, then I'll give her the bad news. Some may say that we acted too soon by hiring this person. I don't believe that we did. We went through proper protocol and went through the process of hiring and filling a budgeted position. I said multiple times that we were filling this position. I think the learning point for me is that I did not understand that we would ever have enough votes that we would actually deny hiring someone in a budgeted position. And so I've learned that can happen now. And I don't agree with it, but here we are. So today we are going to vote. We are going to see if we still have a tied vote. If we do, then I'll proceed with hiring the person. I was hoping that someone or all of you would that voted against this would change your minds and allow this to go on through, and maybe we'll make some changes to try to stay away from this in the future. Of course, if there's a majority that votes against it, then that pretty much ends the discussion on this, and we won't have a full-time person, at least for now. So that, I think, provides a history from my point of view. I'm opening up for other discussion for any of the magistrates that want to add to that discussion.
Yes, Judge.
Yes.
I'm surprised to see this position back on the agenda, as this matter was voted on at our last fiscal court meeting. Since that meeting, to my knowledge, there's been no additional discussions or meeting held to revisit this issue or explore alternative solutions. Therefore, my position on this matter has not changed. As stated previously, just a few months ago, we entered into an agreement with Lincoln Trail Ad to provide these services at a fraction of the cost of hiring a full-time employee. It's important to note that Lincoln Trail Ad currently employs our former county engineer as well as our former GIS coordinator, so they have firsthand knowledge of the responsibilities and expectations of this role. We owe it to our taxpayers to be conservative with their money and to stretch it as far as possible without jeopardizing the quality of services they have come to expect and deserve. My position on this matter is driven by one thing: saving the taxpayers' money. Based upon the conversations I've had with Lincoln Trail Ad, I firmly believe that we can do just that by moving in this direction. I also believe we have nothing to lose by giving this arrangement a few months to see how it works. I'm not sure why there is resistance to thinking outside the box and at least attempting to save the county money. The county already has 2 GIS positions, one with planning and zoning and the other at 911. As long as those 2 coordinators continue to handle their departmental responsibilities and Lincoln Trail Ad is tasked solely with assisting the county engineer, I believe we can realize meaningful cost savings. In the coming months, we'll be entering into next year's budget discussions. We already know funding will be tight. We are facing the challenge of finding approximately $400,000 to maintain a full-time ambulance in White Mills. At present, we are spending more than we are taking in. It is time for this court to tighten its belt and begin being fiscally responsible with the taxpayers' money. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? All right. Hearing none, we'll go ahead and have roll call, please.
Judge,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought someone else was going to say something, so I didn't want to interrupt him.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to make it clear that my position on this is not about a person, position, or you, as you alluded to in the last court meeting. This is all about, as far as I'm concerned, our role as fiscal court members to be fiscally responsible. And that's the only reason I am proposing that we give it a chance to see if this contract with Lincoln Trail Ad does what it's supposed to do or what we think it might do. I disagree that it won't, that we will lose public service or it will reduce our public services. It won't, I think you used the word cut. I don't know where you came up with that because we don't have any history to see whether or not it's going to cut or not. But I don't think it will because we have the professional people in place that knows our county that will be providing that service. So it just stands to reason that we could give this a chance, see if it works. And if it works, we've saved money for the taxpayers, which is substantial dollars. You talked about the year in review and the things to come, and everything surrounded dollars. And so that's what we're trying to do here. Never did I ever get the impression, even though some have a different opinion, that it was going to be a stopgap. It was going to be a means to achieve our services and also try to save tax dollars as well. I'm not too sure, but I don't find anything, if I remember correctly, in the contract to where they are going to be training anyone. I think their contract stipulates that they will be providing GIS services and engineering services. So training probably won't be one of those things that they will be doing for the county government. As far as the Finance Committee being shocked, I understand the position that they were put in, but it wouldn't have happened if you had listened to the magistrates over the last 4 or 5 months when we expressed to you that we did not want to go forward with this, that we wanted to give the contract an opportunity. So I hated that they were put in that position, but we didn't put them in that position. It could have been avoided if we'd have just gone, if you would listen to us a little bit. I don't feel like that if we have any pushback at all, I don't feel like we are listened to at all by you. And so that's got us to where we are today. So all I'm saying is give it a chance, see if it works. If it does, we got a win-win for the taxpayers and also for our engineering department. If it doesn't work, I'll be the first one to raise my hand and say, it didn't work, and let's go back and let's fix it and do something differently. So for those reasons, I will continue to vote no.
I'm going to respond just real quickly that, yes, I did hear some pushback on filling this position. the fact that I pursued going ahead and filling it after I had heard that there was some desire to bring in contract labor to do this. It doesn't mean I didn't listen. Doesn't mean I didn't evaluate. I had many discussions with our county engineer, and at that point decided that through those discussions and further evaluation that we needed to have a full-time person. And from that point on, my response was, yeah, we're going to fill this. And I didn't realize that there was going to be this much negativity about that, that's for sure. Because I'm listening to the guy that actually runs this department, not some theoretical approach that might work or it may not work. So my first responsibility is to make sure that these departments are functioning and they're functioning appropriately and they're providing the services that they're supposed to provide to our citizens and our economic development in this county. So if anybody had come to me and asked me, you know, well, give me all the reasons why that we can't use a contract person for the next 6 months or a year or whatever, and then I would have been happy to explain it. So I think listening can go both ways, and the right questions were not asked, and you know, I'm concerned about that. And then, so yeah, I'll stop there. Next person that wants, anybody else have some comment?
Yes, I'd like to make just some brief comments. My position stands the same as it did the last time this went up for vote. And my understanding was that it was a temporary fix to begin with. I take pretty good notes at committee meetings, and I went back and I looked at my notes, and my notes reflect that this would be a fix temporarily. It was not a permanent Band-Aid situation. It's just a temporary Band-Aid on a problem that we were having. So I don't know if I'm the only one that misunderstood that or what. Could be, I don't know. But I would like to say that, you know, Judge Tall is responsible for the day-to-day operations of county government and the employees at county government. He works with them one-on-one. He meets with his department heads, and to my knowledge, he does a really good job in keeping in touch with what's going on here with the employees. If he feels like the position should be filled, and he's hearing information from the department head related to the role that this individual would report to, then it's my thinking, and common sense tells me, let's let him do his job and fill the position and quit this back and forth discussion about what it's going to do, what it might do, what it might not do. It's a budgeted position. Let's get it filled. And I think it would be at his discretion to do that. Anyway, and I agree with what he said in his comments, and I'll be voting the same way I did last time, which was, yes, we need to get this position filled. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I greatly appreciate our engineering department. I hold them in high value. I suppose the question that maybe someone could respond to is, have the services of the GIS coordinator from Lincoln Trail Ad District been inadequate, or are they adequate? We have looked at cost savings, and I've not heard that it's been inadequate. I do believe it'll be a cost savings, and in my mind, it's worth giving a good close look at to see if we can operate this way. And then if we can't, we need to go back and look at it again. But currently, I'm not ready to move ahead on it.
Well, I can answer your question, is that the services that we've asked so far, which is really just started in November, you know, obviously the services that currently is coming from our contract person, which is the guy that did the job for 7 years, has been adequate. There's no doubt about that. He was doing a really good job when he was here. There's no reason to think that he wouldn't whenever we've asked him to come in and provide some, you know, some critical project stuff that had been sitting around for several months, that he wouldn't be able to do that. So that's not really the question. As we go forward and continue to try to finish up the backlog and try to get continue to provide these services, will this same person be available if we need him 40 hours in a week? The answer so far has been, well, I'm not sure about that, because he is providing services to other counties. And so when that happens, and it will happen, then we get back behind again on our services. And that was another reason I mentioned the training. The training was with another Lincoln Triad coordinator, GIS coordinator, who does not know the protocols and the software package that we use here. Not saying that she wouldn't be able to learn it, but my problem, one problem is the fact that, first of all, you know, that has to be done at the same time that our contract person is providing the services to us. Does it slow him down any? I don't know. But it's not, these are the things that you get into as an example of contract services. Some things you can control, some things you can't. Availability has been in question from day one. I've dealt plenty of times in my career with contract types of services, including professional engineers. And I've had a mixed bag of results, depending on who's providing the services and the people they have available to provide those services, and how good they provide them, whether they're, you know, are able to do projects in a reasonable amount of time, whether they're accurate or not, all the different things that you can control if you have that person, that position under your control as an employee. So there are enough reasons to say no to contract labor, and we don't need to. I mean, even if there are some savings, what are we talking? Maybe $10,000, maybe $20,000. Heck, we turned down $500,000 with land out at the landfill. That'd been enough to pay for this additional $20,000 for the next 25 years. So I just question whether if there is a savings, which I'm saying there will not be a savings in all of this, because this position is at $85 an hour, $85 an hour. And as I've said, our full-time position with benefits is right at $50 or so. So, you know, that's a pretty big difference, and it's assuming that this contract person will be able to do all the work that we've been asking a full-time person to do in half the time, basically, or just approximately. Okay, so. And with the $80,000 restriction that we currently have on the contract, it would be more like $18 an hour. I mean, 18 hours a week. I'm sorry, 18 hours a week. So so that's really less than half the time. So these are just a multitude of concerns. I don't believe that the payoff, the positives outweigh the negatives, and that's why I continue to press for this to happen, and why I brought it up again. I thought there might be some, after all the discussion and concerns, that there might be some reconsideration, and KRS allowed us to do this since it was a split court. And so wasn't trying to drag anybody else through the mud or anything like that. I just wanted to give another opportunity. If this person, this candidate, had not been willing to wait, she really wants to come here and work. If she hadn't been willing to wait, of course, then we wouldn't be here today talking about it. It would be over. But she was. So, and this KRS allows us to do this. So just a few responses. Anybody else?
Yes, I have something I'd like to say.
Okay.
This is not just some Joe Blow contractor that we're dealing with. This is the Lincoln Trail Ad. This is an organization that we give money to each year to be a part of that organization. You sit on the board for Lincoln Trail Ad.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually 11% of that board is from this court,
Mm-hmm.
either you or the other citizen members that you have. Altogether, including the mayors and you and your appointed people, we have 23% of that board are covered by Hardin Countyans, people who live in Hardin County.
As it should be, yeah.
Yes, so we have a stake with that contractor. That contractor is not just some Joe Blow that's going to blow us off and say, we'll be there in a couple of weeks. You sit on that board, you can tell them, hey, your contract, this engineering is not going very good. So I don't buy the argument of contract services just don't work. That's all I've got to say.
Okay.
Judge,
Yes.
from a builder / developer standpoint, you had mentioned something about helping our local builders and stuff. I have never once used RGIS for anything. Now, hear me out when I say this. Yes, our engineer does check off on the roads, and he views our plans, right? He may have interactions and maybe want to correlate between the two. And I'm sure there is some back-end stuff that's being used, but I've paid for an engineer to do my work. So from that standpoint, I don't see that being a benefit that you had mentioned. And if I'm not mistaken, from my conversations with planning and zoning, I do deal with them a lot, they can do their own GIS. I don't think they've actually asked for GIS. The biggest thing that they utilized NIC for back in the day, if I'm not mistaken, was drone. And I believe that they're working towards that. And they have their own drone. If not, they're working towards, I think Adam's mentioned in our committees before that he's getting the drone pilot license. So from that standpoint, that's not necessarily, like, I feel like there could be some unnecessary uses or that we don't have to use them for. Is kind of where I was going with that. So if we cut out some of that waste, and I'm going to pick on, you had mentioned earlier whenever you first started talking today and giving your speech about the improvements from last year. Mm-hmm. We talked about how EMS, we've given up some positions there, right? This is one of those times, like, one way, like, we're tasked as a court to focus on finance, point blank period, right? And I'm not saying that, like, every single department, I'm sure if you ask Lisa, she'd love to have more people to help. I mean, we could probably go down every single department. They all are going to say, yeah, we need more help. And they probably do. But we have to be extremely cautious on where we spend. And I'm not saying we probably don't need this person, but we have a contract. Let's use this contract to truly see if we actually need this person moving forward. We have an opportunity. Maybe we can trim the fat, right? Get rid of some stuff that we don't need, and use the services that we have at our hands, at our disposal, and then move forward. And that's kind of been my stance. I'm pretty sure I talked to you about this in June, like one of our meetings in June. And then you and I have met about this, and I've told you where I stood on this entire time. I just think that we have opportunities to not add to our expenses every month. And this is an opportunity to try to save some of our money and, put it in, like Chris said, budget time's right around the corner. And we're going to be looking at raises and stuff like that. All these things are going to add up. And so, and I know a lot of times it's talked about, okay, well, it's only 50,000, it's only 60,000, it's only 100,000. How many 100,000s before we're talking about millions, right? So we just gotta do it where we can. We haven't had somebody, county government hasn't failed since we haven't had somebody in those positions because we have an outside source. Let's use it. Let's save some money. Let's do what we're supposed to be conservative, right? That's our job. Best utilize our taxpayers' dollars, be conservative, and provide adequate services. I do not think that our services are gonna go down, personally. So, and this is, from my standpoint of my uses, from when I've come for those services.
Well, as a response, I mean, understand that our senior engineer at Hardin County Government doesn't develop developments. I mean, we would have to hire more engineers to do that. So, but I will say that, you know, how to say this nicely, I guess, but I mean, there's variation in engineers that are used for developments. Some are better than others. And maybe you've hired a really good engineering firm, and they are able to provide all the information to county government that is just fantastic, and there's no problems with it. And our engineer reviews it and makes sure that everything is per standard with water flow and all the different streets and all the checks that have to be done, which is time consuming to do that. It doesn't mean just because our engineer doesn't put together the whole development that he hasn't got a job that requires expertise and requires time to review those things. So, and I feel very confident that he does a fantastic job, but sometimes it will be a lot of stuff. It kind of gets redlined, you know, and the things aren't what they should be. And then there's a lot of back and forth and a lot of time-consuming things go on with a particular project. So be thankful you've got, you know, you've had good experiences with that, and that your projects or project have not been held up because of issues. So I don't want to I don't want this to sound like we have an engineer here that doesn't have anything to do or shouldn't have anything to do, and that we are in this GIS coordinator. You know, if there's some stuff that we're doing for planning and development now, we're going to start to push things over on them. Just be aware that we do subsidize that particular area, and if there's something that we are going to ask them to do in addition, that maybe I know that Adam King likes, you know, I know how busy he is, and he says, I'm going to go out and get a drone pilot license. I like to know when he's going to fit it in there, but, you know, maybe he'll be able to do that. Maybe he'll need to hire somebody else to do it, or do some other things that we have been able to provide to them as a service to that other pseudo-government type of department. But if they're going to have to do some of these things themselves, then it may come at a cost, is all I'm trying to say. And we will probably end up absorbing that cost ourselves. So I don't know how that's really going to save us money. You know, so I know that's, I felt like what you were saying was a little bit, you know, what if, you know, well, I'm coming back with some other what ifs, you know.
Mine's actually pretty factual in the fact that, you know, I deal with planning and zoning whenever, majority of what they do is the redlining. Mm-hmm. Planning and zoning, I didn't turn my plans in directly to Mark immediately. It goes to planning and zoning, right? By no means was I discrediting Mark and what he does, because I know he's looked at our roads. My point is that's not, like you initially had said, the GIS position is assisting in that as much. I don't see it, because it's the engineer that's going to sign off on it, not a GIS position. So you had mentioned that they were helping with developers, and I just disagree. That's all I was saying. So, Mark, I hope you did not take offense to that, because I promise you, I know you're doing your job in that regard. But
okay, all right.
But my point was this: planning and zoning, like, they do a lot of this on their own. So I don't see us using that again as a reasoning for hiring a GIS position in-house. When again, I just think we should use our contract that we currently have. It's not a contract we're talking about in the future. We have it now, let's use it. Save money.
Anybody else?
Yes, when we entered that contract, I thought it was a temporary stopgap until we could fill it. But we didn't enter that contract as a trial to see if we needed a GIS personnel. It was supposed to be a stopgap as far as I was concerned. And when we hired our engineer, we thought we was going to let him get his feet on the ground and then tell us what he needed to run his department. And I think he's telling us he'd rather have a full-time personnel in the GIS versus using that contract. So I guess if I'm trusting our engineer, if that's what he thinks he needs versus the contract, then that's what I think we should be doing.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and it's, engineering services and technical GIS type of services, pretty hard, I think, for somebody that isn't technical and doesn't understand all the stuff that goes on with that to come to the conclusion that we are going to use contract labor. We should be dependent on the department head to give us some good input and understand why we need to do that and why he's against contract labor. It bothers me that we are questioning that, his ability to move forward with his department, and that's probably one of the more disturbing things about this. And the amount of money that we're going to save, it's just not worth the risk. Okay, it's not $100,000 savings. That would be complete elimination of the position. At the very most, well, it could be. It may be required per the agreement of a $20,000 savings, and I question whether that will be true or not. But and still get the work done.
Call the question, please.
So anybody else have anything that they want to say?
Yeah, I want to say something. I've been sitting here for 3 years, and to my knowledge, this is the first time we've got some magistrates sitting here is concerned about saving the taxpayers' money. I remember when we come up to vote to buy 3 new ambulances. The cost of those 3 ambulances at first, the bid was like $380,000. 2 months later, that price jumped to $800,000. Maybe I'm off a little bit, but it was a tremendous jump. What happened to these magistrates at that time when they wanted to save the taxpayers some money? My vote was, let's wait and see what's going to happen. And it took 3 years to get those ambulances anyway. We didn't have to spend almost triple that money for those 3 ambulances, but you all wanted them, wasn't interested in saving taxpayers' money then. You wasn't interested in saving taxpayers' money when you put industrial tax in. So I'm sitting here thinking, well, why are you so against this? You're filling a job that the money is already allocated there until the new fiscal year. So I'm just sitting here thinking, well, is it because Judge Tall brought this up and you all just got to fight against it? It seems like every time Judge Tall brings something up, we've got a group of magistrates here that just want to fight him on it. So that's what I've got to say, and I'll be voting yes on it.
Judge, if I may.
Yes, please.
It made a reference about the ambulances, and I just want to make clarification. It was our EMS personnel, our director, that brought it to our attention, the need for our ambulances. We had discussed, we were trying to budget for them. He brought initially a quote, and then after realizing that the economy and things were going up, he's the one who brought us the new quote after we bid it out, that the ambulances were going up, and they went up from $180,000 to $300,000. So it was almost $300,000 a piece.
A piece.
Yeah, yeah. And if we didn't have those and we didn't have those opportunities, the situation in White Mills probably wouldn't have happened, and, you know, all the other backup ambulances. So, again, I said it then, I'm not gonna gamble with people's lives. That's, you know, there's some people here from your district that would really appreciate that, you know, if you would vote for those ambulances, that's critical. That's critical to our citizens and their lives and their safety. And it wasn't about not saving money or not, it was about not being able to get the ambulance. And we had that conversation that time, that we were more concerned with potentially not being able to get them because the lead times on them were 2, 3, potentially 4 years or more. And so that's why they are so delayed in coming in. And then a few weeks after, we did have Mark come back with another option of the repurposed boxes and stuff. But that didn't add to our fleet. So I wanted to make that clarification for everybody.
Aaron, I wasn't against the ambulances. I know we had to have the ambulance.
Yes, you were. You voted no.
Yeah, I know against tripling money. That's what I voted against. Your all's big hurry was, oh, we got to do this. We got to do this now. We might not get them. Then Mark come in just a few weeks later and found this deal in Tennessee with almost what the original price was. That was my vote, not against the votes on the ambulances. Kenny, you can sit over there all you want to and put words in, you know, do whatever you want to, but you don't know what my thoughts was when I voted. I was voting against all that extra money, not against the ambulances.
Okay.
Judge,
So I
could
think we've
could
got
I
off.
speak just briefly on, to maybe finalize this? Magistrate Pennington mentioned need. I know that we're all paying attention when Mr. Absher gave his report about his projected goals and needs in 2026. And in particular, I think signage and that type of thing, safety, it was wrapped around safety issues. Looked like a lot of projects to me.
It is.
And in my opinion, we need a full-time, in-house GIS coordinator. Someone's got to help him to accomplish those goals. And I think we're heading up the wrong road if we continue with the contract agreement. I think we owe it to our engineer. We owe it to you, Judge Tall, to let you do your job responsibly. And we need to move forward with this and work on other issues that can save this county money and issues where we can trim our budget in big ways. I know small ways add up to big money, but let's put this to bed and let's move forward with it and let's hire what we need, a GIS in-house employee. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you. Kenny, did you have something that you wanted to say?
No, sir.
All right. All right. All right. Thank you for the conversation here. And so let's move on and let's have roll call.
Squire Clem,
No.
Squire Hicks,
Yes.
Squire Muse,
Yes.
Squire Pennington,
No.
Squire Saltzman,
No.
Squire Thompson,
No.
Squire Whitehead,
Yes.
Squire Yates,
No.
Judge Executive Keith Tall.
Yes. What's the count?
No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 no. 1, 2, 3, 4 yes.
Okay, 5 no, 4 yes. This resolution fails. All right, let's move on to the consent agenda. And let's review the items that are on here. The first 2 items have to do with finances, December recurring claims, utility claims. The next item are some financial transfers, Resolution 010. The next item is Resolution 002, and this is to approve the 2026 deceased farm animal removal application. And this is basically a Kentucky Ag Development Fund that will provide up to, I believe, $12,000 or so, $12,500 to help us with that. The next item, item D, is Resolution 003, and this is related to approval of the Pearl Hollow Hay Lease 2026 revised agreement. Okay, and the next item is the Resolution 004 related to approval of the 2026 holiday schedule. Just some explanation there that the reason that's on here is that it needs to be approved because it has 2 additional federal holidays added to the state holiday schedule. We've been using this schedule since 2022, I believe, 2022 calendar year. The last 2 items are Resolution 005, which is EMS personnel changes, and Resolution 006, which is related to approval of engineering personnel. Okay. All right, so with that, does anyone disagree with or want to remove any of these items?
I'd like to remove E, please.
So E is the Resolution 004.
Yes.
Okay, any others? All right, so what we will do is we need a motion to approve the consent agenda items that are remaining.
So moved.
Second.
Move.
I have Pennington and Yates.
Okay, that's close enough.
Okay.
Or Whitehead, whichever one you want to give second to.
Was it Saltzman?
No, it wasn't me, it was her.
Okay, let's move on then with the roll call, please.
Squire Clum,
Yes.
Squire Hicks,
Yes.
Squire Muse,
Yes.
Squire Pennington,
Yes.
Squire Saltzman,
Yes.
Squire Thompson,
Yes.
Squire Whitehead,
Yes.
Squire Yates,
Yes.
Judge Executive Keith Tall.
Yes, motion passes. All right, now we'll address the Resolution 004. This is related to the approval of the 2026 holiday schedule. Is there a motion for this resolution? Okay, I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. So let's have some discussion on why this was taken out of the consent agenda.
If this has been a procedure since 2022, it doesn't reflect our personnel policies and procedures handbook, as if you read the resolution, you open the resolution and read it, it says as per our handbook, but we're giving them the 2 extra days, President's Day and Columbus Day, I believe it was. I believe we should follow along with what our personnel policies and procedures handbook says, or go through and change our handbook to reflect the way that you would like for it to be.
Any other comments about this?
You know, Judge, I don't necessarily mind giving them the 2 extra days, but I do think that maybe, I'm not for sure what the sheriff, made his budget on. Is it, his budget's a little on the off cycle, and,
Right.
extra holidays do have a financial impact. and
Sure.
I see that the sheriff has now left.
Yeah.
So I personally would just like to table this and make sure that it's not going to affect his budget, as he's already passed it, and we can pass it and bring it back to the table at next.
I mean, we could do that. I will say that this schedule was already known, okay? So he had this schedule whenever he was making his budget. I can tell you that our budget had these 2 days in there because this has been our common practice for the last 4 years. So I don't believe there's really any risk in budgeting part of it. I mean, if that's a concern by everybody, then, I mean, we can wait to the next fiscal court meeting if that's I hear your concern about it. Now, I mean, it could be legitimate, but this thing has been out there for the whole time. It's not a change from anything we've done for 4 years now.
I wasn't, honestly, it's probably my fault. I did not catch that we was not following the state calendar, so
Yeah, I
I
mean,
had not talked to the sheriff. Unless Ms. Bennett can add some light to it as whether or not that was part of y'all's budget discussions, these 2 days were included. Do you?
is that okay?
So these 2 days, you have accounted for these 2 days? Is that what you're saying? Yes. Okay.
And is that okay?
That addresses my concern.
Okay.
No, Judge, I think it's just an oversight on everybody's part. We've assumed the calendar was in compliance with the personnel manual, and we just need to get something straightened out. If we can table it and go to the committee and either change our personnel policy to incorporate these days so that when we vote on it, we're voting on it where it's accurate. I mean,
I guess another way that, this is what I was thinking, okay? And is that if we had the same days as what was in the personnel policy, then I wouldn't have a need to bring it to resolution in front of you guys. We would just proceed with our, as usual, per the personnel policy, the state holidays. The fact that I've got it in a resolution today is the fact that we have added 2 days to it, and it's been that way for 4 years. It came to my attention that since this is not following the state holidays, it's got 2 extra days, that we needed to bring it before you all so that we could vote on it and make it legit. So this was my attempt to do that. And that's all I'm trying to do.
so
I mean, we could go
will
back.
we have to vote to change the personnel policy then to mirror
We don't
this?
have to change the personnel policy. I mean, this is a resolution that says these are the days that we're going to have as holidays. Like I said, if we're using the personnel policy and it was exactly that way, then we wouldn't have to have a resolution to proceed. So this is basically overriding the personnel policy. It doesn't really override it, it's adding 2 days to it.
Would the personnel policy not need to be amended and voted?
It
and
wouldn't
approved?
have to be. I mean, it's not to say that we couldn't. If this is what we decide, this is what we're going to do from now on, and we don't want to have to go through this process, we could change the personnel policy in the future.
Are you all saying that the personnel policies list the holidays?
Personnel
It just
policy
says
says
state.
we follow the state.
Right.
holidays.
So I agree, like, because this isn't state, we would approve it. So there's nothing to change in the personnel policies, unless you all want to do,
But we'll have to do this every year,
right.
That's
which we
Which
didn't
we
do
have
last year, by
some
the way.
years. Yeah.
Some years it's happened and some it hasn't, to
Yeah,
be
we missed
honest
it in
with you.
24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we
And
missed
not
it
just
in
this
2024.
So it's
administration.
either the
Okay.
state holiday schedule, which doesn't include these 2, or you all approve it, which does include these 2, or some other variation.
Something to
So
think.
to clarify, we do not have to change the personnel policy. We do not have to vote on that. So we can add the 2 days and vote on this
We
today.
can do it today, and
And if
that
we-
would be sufficient to move forward. Again, if we
Only
want
for
to do
this
it.
year.
For this year,
Well, obviously, for this year.
yeah.
yes.
We'd have to do this again next year.
Next year, and the year after.
From now on, unless we go back and change the personnel policy
Okay.
and add the 2 days in there.
My only concern was making sure that the sheriff had budgeted for these 2 days.
No, I-
It appears they have, so
Okay.
it addresses my concern. Oh, yeah, I guess there is.
I think
Yeah, there is.
it does,
I'm pretty sure it does fall within the state guidelines
That one
regardless, so-
follows the.
That's
personnel
true, that is
policy.
a state holiday.
So that one would be okay.
Okay? Any further discussion? Then we'll go ahead and have a roll call, please.
Squire Clem,
Yes.
Squire Hicks,
Yes.
Squire Muse,
Yes.
Squire Pennington,
Yes.
Squire Saltzman,
Yes.
Squire Thompson,
Yes.
Squire Whitehead,
Yes.
Squire Yates,
Yes.
Judge Executive Keith Tall.
Yes, motion passes. All right, that concludes business, so we'll move on into our comments. County Attorney, you have anything?
I don't, thank you.
Okay, County Clerk, stand in?
No, thank you.
Okay. Magistrate Yates.
Yes, first, I'd just like to thank Magistrate Clem and the jailer for doing their due diligence and looking into that, and our county attorney for getting that $50,000. And it's going to be a big help over the next 15 years or so, it appears. I want to invite everyone out to the annual Mayor's Breakfast. I think Mayor Duval started this, I think it'd be about 16 years ago. It's going to be January 24th from 9 to 11. Also, I want to send my condolences to Magistrate Thompson on the loss of his brother.
Thank you. Magistrate Saltzman.
I also would like to say what Mr. Yates said. Condolences to my colleague over there, Mr. Thompson, on the loss of your brother. And I also would like to invite everyone out to the Mayor's Breakfast. It is the 16th year for it. J.J. Duval has done a great job making that thing grow. There's all kinds of community organizations come out, nonprofits, businesses. Everybody comes out and offers good food to everyone. And JJ is always out there meeting and greeting, and has other elected officials there with him, and meet everyone in the lobby as they come in. And it's a good time, and just come out and fellowship and meet some of your elected officials.
Lots of good door prizes.
Oh, yes, door prizes. There will be lots of those. So it's 9 to 11 probably for the food, and then it's probably 1 o'clock before we're out with all the door prizes.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Whitehead.
Yes, I would also like to offer my condolences to Magistrate Thompson on the loss of your brother. My prayers are with you and your family. And I would like to remind everyone that since this coming Monday is a holiday, the Resources and Community Support Committee meeting will be Wednesday, January 21st at 3:30. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Clem.
Yes, Judge, thank you. I want to say thank you again to Josh and his audit committee for working to check on the compliance, and really appreciate it. And also the county attorney who's involved in the audit committee. And so I'm sure that was just an oversight. That's not to say anybody did anything inaccurate in the agreement, but it's just one of those little small details that got overlooked. And but we appreciate everybody's cooperation in that. Also want to extend my condolences to E.G. and his loss of his brother Harley. I know it's been a long struggle, and E.G. and I are in Sunday school class together, so he's been a subject of prayer for a long time, and we're praying for your family, E.G. And our meeting, Finance Committee meeting, is coming up. It looks like it's Tuesday, January the 20th at 3:30 p.m. Also, our Town Hall Forum is coming up. It's going to be here, and it's going to be January the 26th. And please note that's a date change from Tuesday to Monday because we have fiscal court on the Tuesday. But it's at 5:30, and encourage the public to come and attend and express their concerns or comments that they'd like for us to hear. And want to also, please don't drink and drive, and don't text and drive.
Thank you. Magistrate Pennington.
Well, I'm going to pick up Chris's slack over there. Emergency services is Thursday, January 15th. That's literally in 2 days at 3:30 p.m.
Magistrate Thompson.
I'll just express my appreciation and thanks. Each one of the fiscal court members have spoken with me individually, and very caring and encouraging people. And appreciate that from all of you. You all know what it's like to lose. Partly helped to make me who I am today.
All right, Magistrate Hicks.
Hey, Jay, just sorry about your loss. And I know I talked to you the other day on the phone and you told me, and just our prayers will be with your family and hope you get to feeling better.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Muse.
Yes, CG, we're sorry about the loss of your brother. And the next public service committee is tomorrow at 3:30 across the hall.
All right, thank you. Next fiscal court is Tuesday, January 27th at 5:30 p.m. And a reminder, it's already been mentioned that we have a holiday on January 19th. I think that's Monday, right? Monday, Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. All right, I think that covers everything. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any objections? Hearing none, meeting is adjourned.